Welcome to Larry's first high-effort video. Today's topic is about Uyghurs, Xinjiang, and China. And you might say, Larry, this does not look high-effort at all. And I would say, that's very possibly true, but this is the best I can do, and it was good enough for me to pass university. Speaking of universities, I just learned China now ranks very high in global rankings for university. Harvard is now number 3 globally, and a Chinese university has taken number 1. So now I'm thinking, how do I get my daughter to a Chinese university? So back on topic, today I have prepared some notes, some pictures, some sources for you to check out to hopefully get you to think, maybe I'm not getting the full picture on this Uyghur G-side Xinjiang stuff. The first time I talked about this, I wore a mask. It was like 5 years ago. I made a YouTube video. I emailed it to my friends, and they probably thought, Larry is on some sort of soapbox again, and he's got a few screws loose. So the first thing I'll show you is a Google search talking about the 2014 Kunming attack. And you'll see at the perpetrators down there, you see it says Xinjiang separatists. Down there. And the main point to remember here is that there were violent attacks on citizens due to religious and political extremism. And this is something that the Chinese government will not tolerate. This was part of the Cultural Revolution. One of the main ideas was we don't let religion or politics harm the people. And like the great debater and businessman Eric Lee says, we had our stupid Cultural Revolution. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying China's perfect. I just want to give you a bigger picture. I think this is a good time to share with you that the Chinese government itself censors information about certain topics because they don't want to create more extreme thinking. They don't want too much divide in society. They don't want to give people a reason to be hateful or violent. For example, you will hear a lot of Chinese netizens criticize the government for not going harder on Taiwan, the Republic of China, where I'm from. They say that the government continually lets Taiwan humiliate the Chinese people and Chinese history. But Xi Jinping, in my opinion, is a dove, and he prefers the peaceful method rather than forceful military action. I could be wrong. People change. Nothing is forever. As a Taiwanese Canadian, ethnically Chinese, when I learned about these Uyghur G-side accusations, I took them very hard. I took them very personally. I don't know if it's because I'm very sensitive from all the meditation and just my genetics, or if it's because I was bullied for being Asian and I have this connection, or it's just my desire and loyalty to the truth and wanting to find the truth. I took all of this Xinjiang stuff very seriously, but then the evidence starts going mainstream and you can't help but laugh. 周润发, Chow Yun Fat? Are you kidding me? Let me show you. Like, some of the evidence that was being shared was just so ridiculous. Famous actors from movies that many Asians watched growing up. Chow Yun Fat, 周润发, Andy Lau, 刘德华, 真的吗? It's just, you can't help but laugh. And obviously you should take this stuff like G-side very seriously. But then at some point, I believe Adrian Zenz changed his tune and said, oh, it's actually a cultural G-side, okay? And it's not, it's not as horrible as perhaps first alleged. Anyways, Adrian Zenz is one of the key figures with all of this information. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about him because you can look into it yourself with what I'm sharing and the links, like Chow Collective. A lot of people criticize Chow Collective, says it uses, Chinese state media for some of the sources. But if no one else is offering the information that there were violent terrorist attacks that extremely harmed civilians, then you have to take that novel information with some seriousness. You have to consider it at least to look at, is this baseless or not? But Adrian Zenz himself admits he's not that fluent in Chinese or the Uyghur language. So, would you trust a Chinese person to tell you about Canada if I couldn't speak English well and I couldn't communicate with you well in your native tongue? So I think that's a point for you to go, what kind of information am I really being fed? Why do they want me to dislike China? Because maybe then I will agree to whatever protocols we apply to China, whatever sanction, embargo, or pressure, military pressure. Maybe I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. It has to be done. For the sake of the world, we have to send our aircraft carriers into the Taiwan Strait, right next to China. Republic of China and People's Republic of China. Just the meat in the sandwich, meat in the Chinese sandwich. So the last thing I'll talk about is the Tianshan Shengli Tongdao, Tianshan Shengli Tunnel, recently constructed, going from Urumqi Yuli Expressway, connecting Urumqi to the north of Xinjiang to Yuli in the south. 3,000 workers took part in this construction at elevations above 3,000 meters. I understand what a feat this is to construct a tunnel. In Taiwan, Taiwan Republic of China, they've made tunnels through mountains, and it's a huge endeavor, and sometimes lives are lost. And why would they spend all this time and effort and money to build infrastructure connecting Xinjiang more and more if they really wanted to ruin the place and mess it up, right? Why would Uyghur script be on the Chinese money? Why would Uyghur people get the advantage in the national exam in China? The national exam in China is a way for people of all economic status to open doors to higher wealth and well-being. Oh yes, one more important point is that there's often circular sourcing with the allegations. It's the same funding, the same people repeating the same stuff to make it seem like it's legitimate. Finally, I will leave you with a clip of a creator talking about how the media makes headlines about China. I think it's presented very well and quite funny. I don't know who the creator is, but props.
This is my guide to writing a headline about China news outside of China. If it is bad news, you write China struggles blank, aka China struggles to tackle population decline. China struggles to reassure wary businesses. China struggles with heat, flooding, and drought. China struggles with hospice care. China struggles with desertification. It's a very easy system. You just write China struggles. No matter if it's like a small thing in China or in one city or isolated or local or one person, China as a whole struggles blank. It's great. The harder part is if there's good news. And I've cracked this case as well. If you need to write a headline about China having any good news, you put blank at what cost. China's getting smarter, but at what cost? Wuhan has no more COVID cases, but at what cost? Serbia has rolled out the red carpet to China, but at what cost? Green transition in China? At what cost? China invests in Ethiopia, but at what cost? China's big cities get cleaner air. How could that be? But at what cost? China's curing cancer faster and cheaper than anywhere else. But some worry they may be going too fast.